Welcome back to our podcast, Queen Quality Podcast. And I'm your girl Shacoya.
And I'm Terria.
And today we're going to talk about a book that I'm reading. Our topic is going to be a little interesting today because I'm reading this book and it's called Self-Love Workbook for Black Women. It was introduced to me by my therapist. And in this book, they talked about basically the superwoman of a family, like how African-American families always have like a matriarch or a woman in the family that's successful. And from that, it led me to think about how people in our 20s like us and other people in their early 20s, mid-20s, we're the first ones to be going to college. We're the first ones to be, I don't know, trying to get our family out of that mode of just working and working and working and working every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't even think it just starts with us either. I feel like our mom generation, grandma generation, great grandma generation, they were also like the superwoman of the family. Like as Black women, we are expected to be able to hold all the weight of everyone else in our families in the household. So.
And be like that, how can I say, a matriarchal person in the family. The only thing that I would say is different from our parents to now, like with my mom, I would say is like we're trying to like become entrepreneurs more frequently than they were back in the day. We got a podcast. We both have businesses outside of this too, so it's kind of like we're trying to do more to create more income, so down the line we have something to pass on. I'm not saying our family members don't have anything to pass on, but you know what I mean, right? So,
and another thing with our generation, so I'm gonna use this as an example. So like with so as Black women as a whole, like I said, we are expected to be able to hold all the weight, and when we can't, we're considered weak. So one thing I really like about our generation, even though I don't really understand it, everybody has their own definitions, but that like soft girl era, I feel like I really love the idea of it, even though I don't really know the exact definition. But we all are told that we're supposed to be a strong Black woman, and that is like a scam in the Black community. Like the strong Black woman, which we'll talk about later, the strong Black woman, which we'll talk about later, it comes with a bunch of like negative like effects. So I really like that soft girl era. To me, it's a way for Black women to experience peace and happiness and have someone else care for us for once. That's what I love about it.
But back to the strong Black woman part, I feel like as a strong Black woman myself, I would say I would consider myself one. I would consider you one too. But the difference between what we are outside of that and what that is strong Black women, like the world, even African-American men, women, older women, it doesn't matter. This is how they see a strong Black woman. They go to work, they don't complain, they take care of their family. If they have kids, they going to work, school, taking care of the family, coming home, cooking, cleaning, with no complaints. But the minute that something goes wrong, like an example, let's say something goes wrong with the kid and she has to miss work, like you have to think about how that makes that woman feel. So she has to be strong. She has to keep doing what she got to do, whether she's a single parent or she married or if she have help or not. She still got to take care of her kids. She still got to feed herself, feed the kid, provide. You know, she still has to be a strong Black woman at the end of the day. But in other races, if something like that was to happen, I believe it's kind of more like you feel bad for them, or you're like, well, they're just having a day. With a Black woman, it's like, dang, well, she fell off, or she not taking care of her business, she not handling herself.
I also said, why isn't that a thing for other, like our peers? Like, why isn't a strong white woman a like thing, or a strong Black man? I never hear people say that. Like the Black woman, we have to be like accountable for, we have to be able to like, what's the word for it? We have to give our all into like everybody around us, like our time, our money, our attention. Like we have to give everything like 100%. But no one's doing that for us. So like, but it's just draining.
It can be like, if I fall off, using myself as an example, if I fall off today, it's not like in another different type of race. I'm not saying all Black people are like this, but I can't call my mom and say, can you pay my rent? I might be able to say, can I come stay with you for a while, but can you pay my rent? Can you help me? But I feel like other households that are not necessarily a different race, but they'll be able to do that without a problem, like, because it's not like they're gonna judge me like, oh my gosh, you need to be a strong Black woman. I feel like that's what most of us would get from if we fall off. But other ones, it would just be like, they just having a hard time, I'm gonna help them out, you know?
Yeah, but it's not even just about us like falling off either. It doesn't just have a toll on like mental health. it affects our physical health as well. If you look on Google right now, Black women have some of like the worst like health outcomes versus anybody else.
High risk for major depression, high risk for diabetes, high risk for stress, and then it goes unnoticed and untreated because we don't see it as that. We see it as like we just going through it, we just having a moment, I'm just not feeling myself. But when that not feeling myself go on for 6 months, you're depressed. You need to seek help. Like
I'm working on a presentation right now about like pregnancy loss and like African American, not even just African American, like minority women in general. Like we have some of the worst maternity health outcomes, and I bet like stress and everything is because of that, because we're pregnant, still working
up until the day you have birth. You hear women, black strong women saying, I worked until the day I had my baby. Like that's not nothing to brag about.
Yeah,
because I mean, you put in stress, whether you feel like your job is stressful or not, you put in stress on the baby. And other places don't do that. They when they 5, 6, 7 months, they go on maternity leave until they have their baby, you know.
But we can't do that because we have to be there to cook the food for the kids, take care of the kids if they get sick, take care of the husband or whatever you have situation you have at home. We have to be accountable for everybody. So,
and it's like we're unaware. Like I said, it goes untreated, and we're unaware of like I'm depressed. Like I feel like it's hard for a strong black woman to come out and say that. I've been in that position myself. Like it's hard for me to just be like, I'm feeling depressed, I'm going through something right now. Or sometimes in communities like ours, I would say black communities, like you'll have somebody in your family die, somebody close to you, and it's like you have time to grieve a little, but not nearly as much as what you need, and you don't get that help that you need because it's kind of like I have to still be strong. Like I still have to, you know.
And I honestly feel like the one that seems like the strongest in the room is usually the weakest in the room. Like I feel like what makes you strong, like I watched this video on TikTok and this girl was like, I got it all together, and another girl was like, I don't, I'm tired, I'm drained. I feel like that makes her strong, just to be able to admit that. Like I'm rewatching all the like the strong black woman shows, like Being Mary Jane, How to Get Away with Murder, Scandal. Like look at Annalise Keaton. Like she was like strong when she went in those courtrooms, but at home drinking whole bottles by herself. So
going through it, and she just like put on that persona to be strong, and that's what we do. Like that's in TV, but what they portraying in TV is really the truth. That's what we do every day. Like I'm pretty sure both of us have examples of how we do that every day, and we don't even know it. Like it's just something that you do, but it's like we have to break that eventually. I'm not saying everybody is depressed, everybody needs a therapist, but if you feel like you're in this moment in life where it's like I don't know what's going on, I don't know what's next for myself, I'm not feeling like myself. Like me and you talk about that all the time. Like dang, I don't got the energy to keep going with my business, or I don't got the energy to want to go to school no more, or I don't have the energy to do the stuff that I really enjoy doing. So it kind of just be like, you need to talk to somebody about that. You need to see what's causing that blockage where you can't get to the point where you like happy again, or you can do the stuff that you used to enjoy. Maybe it was a breakup that you never talked about, or maybe it was losing somebody in your life that you never really fully healed from. Like those are just my personal examples. Like
honestly, I feel like it's just pouring in. I feel like for like black women, it's us just doing stuff for everybody else. Like that's just what it's, we don't have time for ourselves. We need to give ourselves, we don't have to be accountable for everybody like all our lives. We don't have to do that. Sometimes it is okay to like put yourself first. I feel like that's the main thing right there.
Self-care, like that is important. And I feel like self-care is different for everybody. Your self-care is different from my self-care, but like having something that you do for yourself, you for real. Having something that you do for yourself, like even a daily basis, every day I wake up, I meditate, I try to think before I even roll over to get on my phone, before I walk my dog, before I brush my teeth. I just like meditate, think, pray, like how do I want my day to go, because I feel like speaking it and saying it helps my day go better. It don't help my dog to stop doing what he doing, but it helps me like get through my day. It helps me, you know, feel better. And at the end of the day, before it's time for me to go to bed, I just try to like get all my thoughts out. Like, oh, she had me messed up at work today. Oh, Terria act like she can't text my phone back. When I text her, stuff like that. I just get it all off. That way I'm not going to sleep with that like burden on me. That's what I would say I do on a daily basis. On a weekly or bi-weekly basis, I like going to get my nails done. I like pedicures. I like going out doing stuff. Maybe, I don't know, a painting class, making candles, stuff that I enjoy doing. I try to incorporate like one thing a week where I'm going out and doing something, because during this time, like, why it's cold, everybody in the house, and I feel like everybody has a little bit of seasonal depression. So like, do something that you enjoy doing on a regular basis, whether it's hot or cold. Just do something like that. That's what I recommend.
That's another thing that I feel like our generation is pushing more self-care, because I be seeing people like wake up in the morning with their kids and make their kids do skincare routines and say affirmations in the mirror like, I'm pretty, I'm this. And I never seen nobody or heard my friends talk about their parents did that with them as a kid. We just got a little, this episode a little ghetto, but it's okay. But I never seen nobody do that like before until like now, our generation. That's another thing we're normalizing is self-care. Like my mom, she always go get her nails and stuff did, but I didn't see her do that. Like raising 3 kids dang near by herself as a kid, I used to like get on her like, why don't she never do this with us? My friend is decorating pumpkins with her mom, why my mom not doing that with us? But I know she was tired, like working 12-hour shifts, coming back home, having to make food for 3 bad kids. Like I can see now, like as an adult, I can see.
And even when parents just have like, it was just me mainly, my brother was older than me, but it was like, dang, she working. Like we not from Indianapolis, so she trying to work, she trying to find herself, she trying to like figure out who she is here, just like I am. So it's kind of, I guess it was similar to yours, because it's kind of like, it's just me, but y'all got each other. She gotta make sure I'm making friends, make sure I'm comfortable, make sure I'm, you know, on top of still having to work, take care of us, provide, all that type of stuff. So
and you mentioned like finding herself too. I'm just like thinking like, I'm in my 20s now. My mama had me at 20. Like I couldn't imagine, like I don't have no kids. Yeah, I know it's people my age with kids, but I couldn't imagine like having it. I know I would not be able to give a kid my all right now.
Excuse my dog, he just clowning, like I don't understand. But I back to what we saying, couldn't imagine doing that either, like having a kid in my even any time in my 20s, because I'm still finding myself. I don't feel like at 25 I'm gonna know who I am, and I'm 23 now. I feel like from 20 to 23, them 3 years, I learned a lot about myself, but I don't think I know myself for real, like how I want to. And I just don't see myself like, how can I teach a kid life when I don't know it yet, you know? But
and I don't want to be a strong black woman. I literally don't. So I feel like if I had a kid right now, I won't have a choice. Like I'm not, like I have a boyfriend. I'm sure that he's gonna be there if I have a kid. But again, you never know. Like a man can walk out whenever he wants to. So like then I'll be forced to have to take care of that kid by myself while going to school, while starting a business, while going to work, while doing this and that, you know. So I don't want to be a strong black woman. Like
I think we need to let that mantra go. Like you can be, and then when I say let that go, I'm not saying you need to be in a relationship with somebody. I'm not. But I don't want to be a strong black woman either. Like I want to be able to live life, like not necessarily, it don't got to be luxurious, but I don't want to have to be like, well, I can only do this and I can only do this and I can only do that. I want to just live life freely, like whatever it means for me to be able to do that in a stress-free environment. That's what I want. Like my job is cool now. I ain't gonna even say job, I'll say career. It's cool. I don't have no problems. Like that's what I mean. Like I'm learning myself. I got a career where I feel like I'm like set. Like I like this. It's a steady pace of moving up for me. It's not too much work and it's not stressful. When I leave there, I leave work at work. It's nothing to bring home. Like
for me, I don't want to be a strong black woman. And what that means to me is that like on the emotional side of it, I feel like in the black community we just now learning how to express our emotions. Like I want to be able to say I'm tired, I don't want to do that today, I'm gonna lay down, without being like you're lazy. Right. That's another trap for a strong black woman. We can't be like, we can't have a break because
we can't just chill.
Yeah, or we're lazy. Yeah, and never want to do nothing, even though we did everything for everybody.
We always got to be on the move doing something, even if it's not for us. Like we have to do stuff for your siblings, for your nieces, nephews. Like you always doing something, but it's sometimes you just want to like, I don't want to no more. Like I just want
sit back and watch TV or something. Like
right, and I ain't worried about nothing. I'm just chilling. Like it ain't a bill I'm worried about. It's not a birthday party. It's not a my mama need help with this, it's just nothing. Like, I'm just chill, no concerns on my mind. Like, that's how I feel like life should be going for us right now in our 20s. I can't say what it's gonna look like when we 30, but this is for the 20s. Like, we telling y'all how we, you know, how we see it for being in our 20s.
I just know my 30, I don't expect to fall into the trap of high blood pressure or diabetes or like depression or like alcoholism. Like, I don't want to fall in none of those traps, because I'm not going to be a strong black woman. If I'm sad, I'm about to cry. If I need help, I'm gonna call the doctor or the therapist, you know. So
straight up. But you start now though. When it comes to the therapy thing, we fixing ourselves now. We healing from childhood, both of us. So I'm speaking for both of us. We healing from childhood traumas now. We're trying to figure out, you know, what in our life has caused us to have these types of traits. What can I do to be better as a friend, as a girlfriend, as a daughter? What can I do to be better? And it's not necessarily saying that people around us are going to be healed like we trying to heal ourselves, but we'll be able to handle the situation better. My therapist tell me that all the time. Your mom, your brother, your uncle, they might not be in therapy. They're not in therapy like you, but you'll be able to handle a person that's not seeking therapy, that's not trying to heal their trauma, because you know how to act. Like, you know what you want, you know what you want to see. So it's kind of like, that's the way to get to your 30s on a successful route. Like, start now. Start trying to seek help, trying to heal your problems now, because when we move into our later 20s, our early 30s, if you're not already in a relationship, that's when that time, but that starts to come into play. And now you kind of mixing your relationship up for stuff from the past that you haven't healed from, and now y'all fighting and y'all arguing and y'all this and y'all that, because you haven't healed from the stuff before, you know. So I'm not saying come into any situation fully healed. None of us are ever going to be fully healed at any point. You're going to always have something you need to work out, you know. But it's kind of like, deal with it now. Like, deal with it at the surface, where maybe you don't have kids like us, and you can just get all that stuff out now before you take that trauma and pass it down. You know what I mean? So that's what my opinion is. That's how I see it when it comes to like self-love and not trying to necessarily be, you can be that matriarch of your family. You could be the person that, you know, leads everybody else or sets a good path for everybody else. That's how I feel. That's what I'm doing in my life and my family. But you don't necessarily have to take on all that agony and that pain. Heal from all that. Heal from the stuff that your family caused. Heal from the stuff that happened in your childhood now, so when you get older, you don't have to worry about it. You're not pulling all that weight of that anymore. That's how I see it.
And just, I guess I can like wrap it up when talking about the strong black woman. You said something that made me think again about, like, you said something like, so you can be a good girlfriend, could be a good daughter, be a good friend. I feel like if I kept on the like stereotype of a strong black woman, I would not be any of those things. Like, me personally, if I don't get like that alone time or self-care time, I feel like it hurts who I am as a person. Like, I don't come off as like the best friend or the best girlfriend or the best daughter. And it reminded me again of the show, like How to Get Away with Murder with Annalise Keaton. She was like a bitch to a lot of them, but not to me. I saw her, since I'm healing now and going to therapy now, I see her character different than like maybe the characters on the show or everybody else. But she came off that way to them, but I'm like, how? She's doing everything for them. She don't do nothing for herself, so that's probably why she's mad. Like, she's angry because she don't have.
But she gotta take that up. When I see it, you like, you gotta take it up with yourself. If they ain't deserving of you, don't give them to them. Like, that's how I see it.
But if I have to give y'all one thing just to summarize this whole thing, is, as a black woman, make sure you take some time for yourself. Obviously we can, we've been doing it for years, handle everything, but we don't have to do that anymore. Like, let someone take care of you sometimes. Just like when I tell people on Thanksgiving, we ain't slaves no more. We ain't got to eat no children. We ain't slaves back in the day. This not 1890 when nobody talked about their feelings, baby. We vocally free about what we want in life. We vocally can talk about what we want, and nobody should be judging you. And if they is, let them. Still get it off your chest. Don't bring that trauma from back then to now. But like I said, I'm Shacoya. I'm Terria.
And this is Queen Quality Podcast.